This is that one audition with Alyshia Ochse. This is exciting, I have to say. Yes. I don't think that you would be privy to this, but your publicist would know. I don't ever interview anybody unless they have at least 10 years experience in this business because of the highs and lows. Yes, you don't really get to ride this train yet. You know, like when people come out and they're like overnight successes, which I just don't deem are real, but you are quintessentially the career that I always talk about. Like Bill Esper says, it takes 10 years to start working as an actor. Your first couple of credits were in 2012. When you got All-American and it popped on the scene, it was 2022. So you are like hitting the milestones.
But I was working before 2012.
Exactly. So that's what I want to hear about.
2012, I got my first extra credit. That was from being a background.
There you go.
2012, but the journey started way before 2012.
Well, tell me about the journey, because you're Chicago. I know that you're the oldest.
Best city in the world, but go ahead.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I agree. I'm from those parts too. That's where I was born and raised. But your dad was in music, and I saw that he also composed for a lot of television and film. So this has kind of been in your zeitgeist for a while. So how did you kind of come into this lane of wanting to do this?
So my dad, actually, I was around entertainment, obviously music. I have a lot of other family members that's music as well and very successful in music. So I was always around that. But my dad and my stepmom, they actually pushed education. That was their main focus, school, grades, that was their main focus. So it was never entertainment from my dad. I actually got that from my mom and my stepdad. They were the ones that put me in acting class. They were the ones that put me in like all the extracurricular. So tumbling, basketball, track, anything that you could think of that was outside of like sit down and do your homework. That was actually my mom and my stepdad. So
incredible.
Yeah. So best of both worlds. It worked
best of both worlds. So your dad being in music and stuff, was he kind of trying to steer you away from the arts, or he just wanted to make sure you get like education just was more of his lane?
I think because my father was in entertainment, he understood and understands the highs and lows of it and the things that you can kind of run into, the peaks and valleys of the entertainment industry. And he really wanted me to have the foundation of the education. Like entertainment, that was easy to get because I was around it. But his main focus and my stepmom's main focus was really education. Like to this day, I've never filled out a college application. I graduated high school early, went to college, left there in Chicago, and then I came to college out here. I can't tell you how to fill out a college application. My stepmom was actually the one that did it for me.
Oh.
But my mom was the one that traveled every weekend to different cities for gymnastics, made sure I was in anything modeling as a kid, made sure I had acting classes and put me in plays. So it was really the best of both worlds.
Well, because was that something that you expressed as a child that you wanted to do? Were you wanting to do acting, that she put you in plays, or was she just kind of experimenting with all the things?
I didn't want to do it at all. My mom had me in modeling. That was cool. And I always tell the story. She put me in acting class. I was doing tumbling at the time, and she put me in acting class. But the girl that I like left after a week. And I'm like, Mom, this is not for me. I don't want to do this. So she put me back in tumbling. And then from there, she would always tell me, I want you to take the acting class. I want you to do the plays. I'm like, Mom, I'm not trying to be around all them weird kids. And then now look at me. One of the weird ones.
Welcome to the weird club. Now you're in the weird club.
I'm definitely in it.
You and I are different ages. So our experience in
well, you
rising.
Look amazing. I don't know your age, but I can tell you look amazing.
I mean, thank you. I'll take that. But I was here early 2000s trying to break in. So you're going into the room and stuff. So in 2008, we had the writer's strike. So it really kind of changed, again, how the industry works, because then streaming had a big boom. So because you said 2012 is when you got your actual professional credit. Yes. But around 2008 to 2012, you're in Chicago during this time, right?
Yeah, I was in Chicago. I actually graduated high school in 2009, but I think I walked across the stage. So I graduated early, but they wouldn't let me walk across until my actual class walked across. So I left school in 2009, but I walked across the stage. I left school 2009, 2010. I was already in college, but I went back to walk across stage with the rest of my class.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I was still back home.
You were still back home. So did you go to school in Chicago?
Yeah.
College in Chicago as well?
I went to actually Joliet Junior College. I did the Joliet Junior College. And then when I came out here, right when I walked across the stage a few months after. I came out here when I was 18 and did College of the Canyons. I stayed out here for almost a year. And then I went back home for 2 years, and my mom really helped me. That's when I came out here at 18. That's when I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. This is it. And then I really wasn't prepared for everything. So, but like at the time, like you say, everything was in person. So my mom and my stepmom and my dad, they were living in Santa Clarita. So I used to get on the bus to the train stop, which I think was in Newhall. The train would take me to North Hollywood. I would take another train from North Hollywood to Hollywood, get on a bus to go to West Hollywood, drop off all of because at the time, you had the resume, and then on top of the resume, you had your headshot. And I would go to every single place, giving my stuff, headshot, resume, turned down by everybody, but it's okay.
I was going to say, did you have any luck? Because sometimes you, when I consult actors, it's like, you got to knock on 50 to 100 doors and maybe 3 will open. Just say, let me just see who you are and what's about. So you got no traction.
No. And then, so I did that on top of working a job. I did that for the longest. And then I went back home for 2 years. And when I came back out here, I did the same thing. It was back to the same grind, taking the bus, the train, anything that I can find, working different jobs. I got a job as a valet. And I remember they asked me, did I know how to drive a stick shift? At the time, I didn't, but I need money. So I was like, yeah, I learned on the job. I'm sure I messed some clutches up along the way, but it's okay.
We're not going to tell anybody. Yeah. You only had to drive 12 feet, right? That's it. Just put it in neutral and just push the car.
Almost, that's what I did, but it was a long, hard road, but I appreciate the journey.
So when you went back to Chicago, because Chicago is also a really big market, did you try to work in Chicago, or for those 2 years you were back at home, did you just
when I went back, I actually didn't have anything. I didn't have anything at all. The proper tools that I needed. Only thing that I had was, I had the proper tools, and the proper tools was a great family, a great support system. I had that. As far as the industry, I didn't have the things that I needed in the industry. So when I went back, my mom really helped me out. I still have the receipt from this day. My mom took, and at the time, my mom wasn't making a lot of money, but she took $10,000. Her and my stepdad came together, $10,000 for a photo shoot, just so I can have it. And then she was paying for my acting classes. And then on top of that, I had a management. I'm not going to say their name, but I had a management. And the management company was actually charging my mother.
No.
We all know.
Okay, so I'm going to say this on mic right now. Yes, that is fraudulent. Yes. You should never be paying somebody to get you opportunities. They only
take 10% or whatever y'all negotiate, Oh,
but no.
My mom was paying. Now, mind you, we didn't know anything. And how they were doing it was they were telling me it was acting class. So she had to pay the management on top of paying them for acting class. But now that I'm a little older and, I've been to a lot of different acting classes, I've been to a lot of different schools, I understand it wasn't acting class. They literally would give me a script and put the camera in front of me and just say, read it.
Okay. So they weren't teaching you anything. Oh, gosh. No. I'm so glad you're being honest about this.
People took photos.
Yes.
They sent me out to some people. My mom spent $10,000 on the photos. I came out here. Long story short, I was up for Power Rangers and the
television series, Yep.
I was up for Power Rangers. And at the time, the manager that I had, he didn't want my dad to read my contract, and he didn't want my attorney to read my contract. And so he was pressuring me, sign it today. I'm like, hold on, let me let my dad read my contract, and I let my attorney read my contract. So he went back to the casting director and came up with some lies that I was sending my contract out to different people. So my attorney sent him a cease and desist and was like, wait, no, I'm his attorney. I'm allowed to read this contract. Here's my non-disclosure he sent to the Power Rangers. Come to find out, what he was trying to do was go behind my back and get more money and me not know about it. So that the extra money would have been pocketed to him. So my dad fired him. And then from there, I have the wonderful management that I've had this whole time that I've been here.
So this is a big part. Thank you for being honest, because I think we don't know what we don't know. Actors are so susceptible and vulnerable to people that are preying upon them because you want to work. So you think that other people, whenever I consult or talk to actors, we're always like giving away our power to our managers and our agents, thinking that we're working for them, they work for you, and starting to step into that power and having people around you that protect you.
And now I'm at the mindset where we work together.
Exactly.
We work together. I feel like what you're right, but I feel like what's worked for me is when we work together. Mm-hmm. And because I feel like it brings about more inspiration and motivation to really get this done. It's not like I'm doing this for you. It's like we're doing this for each other.
Exactly.
We're going to get there together. So when I approach it with that mindset, it's worked for me. And I really like the outcome of it because it feels more like I got your back, you got my back. When we're at the peaks, we're still good. When we are at low points in this industry, because we all know we have those, we're still good. And I really love my team, from my agents to my managers to more recently my publicists. I really love my team. And even down to the photos that my mom spent all that money on, I came out here and was taking it to different places just for them to look at me and say, this is not going to work.
Well, that's the thing too, is sometimes you need to consult even the photographers, anybody that you're working with. So it's good not only to consult and get good ideas. That's why this podcast exists, so that actors can come and hear other people's journeys like yourself and know, oh, I'm not going to do that, or I should do this. Like, take what you want, leave the rest. But we all have experiences that we've learned from, or places and spaces where we've been taken advantage of in order to get our careers moving. So I have to ask the question, because I love your agents. I was with them as well for a while.
They told me they spoke very highly of you.
I love Gabe so much. Okay, so tell us all, how do you find, is it Third Hill Entertainment? Third Hill Entertainment.
And then Third Hill hooked me up with Pakula.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so tell me how you find the right manager. So you come back out to LA, and are you knocking on doors again?
I was knocking on doors. Absolutely. I was knocking on doors. So when I came back out, originally I was with the fraudulent manager. The fraudulent manager hooked me up with somebody here. So they was co-managing me, and they end up splitting. And I'm a very loyal person. If I walk through the door with you, everything is right, I'm walking out the door with you. That's me. And so they split, and she wanted me to go with her, and my old fraudulent manager wanted me to stay with him. Only reason why I knew her is because of him. So I chose to stay with him. And then that's how the Power Ranger thing came about. And once he fired him, my dad fired him, got on the phone, fired him. My dad's friend came out here. His name is Jeff Robeson. We call him J-Type. He came out here and he was asking me questions. I think this was like 2 days after. He was like, hey, what's going on with your career? Do you have management? Do you have agents? I said, no. My dad just fired him, rightfully so, but my dad just fired him. He said, don't worry about it. I got my uncle. We'll go to eat with him. And, he got a lot of different connections in the industry. So I said, okay. So we set up, we went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles right there in Hollywood.
Shout out to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Yeah, we went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. I didn't eat, but I sat down and had a great meeting, and he got on the phone and he called Tony. And I talked to Tony. Tony said, all right, come in for an interview. It was Tony, it was Laura. So when I went in there, we had a great meeting. I presented them the same photos that wasn't going to work. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have anything.
You didn't have any credits at that point?
No, yeah. I had nothing. I had a hope. I had a dream. And I had a great personality and a genuine spirit. And I knew I was going to be where I want to be in life.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right here, because I'm going to get into the minutia of this a little bit, because I have a lot of newer actors that listen to this podcast. And I love your honesty about I had nothing. I didn't have credits. I just had me. I would love to know how you represented yourself in that conversation in order for you guys to decide to work together as teammates.
I attack things from a genuine place. My father always told me, do things that your heart is in. And I attack things from that place. I walk in a room. I don't want to necessarily impress you. That's not necessarily my goal. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be something that I'm not. I'm going to bring myself. Mm-hmm. And if we can get along and we can work together based off me being myself, we have something. But I'm not about to keep up this game with you to try to be something that I'm not. Because then at the end of the night, I'm not going to be able to sleep well with myself.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and they took a chance on me. And to me, that means a lot, because I was turned down so much. So to walk in a room, and as actors, we have a lot of self-doubt.
Mhm.
And even after we book jobs, that doesn't change. Yeah, well, I can't speak for everybody. Just if I'm being vulnerable and speaking for myself, we can have all the confidence in the world, but at the end of the day, we're still human. So we still run into those places in this industry where you take the little blow to the stomach. And in this industry, when you're looking for management, when you're looking for the next job, when you're doing all of these other things, you can kind of doubt yourself. But I went in there just being honest and being myself, and they took a chance on me. And from there, they said, all right, we would love to work with you. And we got the perfect agent. I only met with one agency out here from Pakula. They got on the phone and called Joe and Gabe over at Pakula. And that was the only agency that I met through them. And when I walked out, I said, I would love to work with them. And they called Tony and said, we would love to work with him. And I had nothing. I had no demo reel. I had nothing besides me in their office saying, I know one day I am going to be where I'm telling you guys I'm going to be. I had faith. I had hope. I had a dream.
So tell me what the dream was when you were in there saying, I know where I want to be. Because I think a lot of times actors give away their power, or they don't have an intention of where they want to go. So then it's harder to grab onto a good teammate. It's harder to say yes or no to an audition. It's harder to go. So I'm curious what your intention of where you wanted to go.
I am going to be one of the biggest movie stars that this place has ever seen. And not only that, just a great human all around, from giving back to different charities. Like I big actor, obviously, but I want to be an even bigger person to the world. And that's the place that I've always attacked. I want the blockbuster movies. I'm going to get all of my agents and managers their Oscars. Like, I'm going to do all of those things. And that's the place that I've always attacked it from. I want to be exactly what God told me I can be.
I love this. That's beautiful. So now tell me, now you've got this great team. You've got Third Hill Entertainment. You got Pakula Keen, which is a beautiful boutique agency that reps great working actors. Tell me some of these auditions before we get to All American, because five points.
5 years.
Yep, go for it.
It took 5 years. I didn't book a thing.
For 5 years.
For 5 years. So we're going into, and this is at the time where you're going in to,
yes, you're going
now everything is self-tape. So it's easy, right? But this is at a time where I still had to work a job. At the time I was living in Pakula. I mean, not Pakula. That's my age.
Yeah.
At the time I was living in Pacoima. I was living in Pacoima for a while, and I was working overnight at a hotel. And from working overnight at a hotel, I would still get up during the daytime. That's when you study and go to all your auditions. And I worked for Amazon. I worked for I worked for a lot of different places. But the struggle of it is I worked in places where I can leave. That was always the main thing. I was always honest. Every time I got a job, I would always tell them my main focus and the reason why I'm here is for acting. So at any given time, if I get an audition, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to ask you, can I go to this audition? But at the end of the day, I'm leaving to go to my audition. There's been a lot of jobs that I got auditioned. I'm leaving. I know I'm getting fired. I'm not coming back to a job tomorrow, and that's fine. So those type of jobs, I wasn't making a lot of money, so it was a struggle.
Right.
But my main focus and my main goal, so imagine for 5 years struggling.
Yes, multiple jobs. And then are you studying somewhere? Are you working in a class? So which classes?
I have 3 amazing acting coaches that I just truly appreciate. Tasha Smith, Marcia Tillman, and Mikhail Shannon Jenkins.
Wonderful.
I've taken a lot of different acting classes out here, but those 3 people I really appreciate. They took the time with me. They really showed me how to break down a script.
So I was going to say, is it script analysis that they're mostly focusing on?
Everything. Character study, script analysis, how to understand what I'm reading, how to access. Mikhail was the one that taught me how to access vulnerability within the character. Growing up in Chicago, we don't really, express vulnerability. Yeah. So we used to go back and forth and argue a lot. Because I'm like, bro, I'm not doing this. You tripping. And he'd be like, we're not talking about you. We're talking about the character. The character's crying right now. I'm like, yeah, but I wouldn't cry in this situation. We're not talking about you. We're talking about the character, and the character's crying right now. So find it. So that was early on. We're talking what, 11 years ago, maybe.
Learning how to service the story and bring yourself to the story versus telling this is who I am. whether
and we had a lot of success along the ways of different auditions. Like, it's important to book the room. Like, we would get great feedback. So it wasn't like 5 years of us hearing anything. It was like 5 years of callbacks, 5 years of getting pinned. But that was 5 years of not hearing anything. And one thing that I can say, and that's why I really appreciate my team, is in those 5 years, I've watched people book things and still get dropped for their agencies.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched people get put on the bubble. I've watched all of these things. I've sat and listened to phone conversations with people on the phone with their agents, and they're getting grilled because they didn't book Audition. I can honestly say I've never experienced anything like that. Every time I got on the phone with Pakula and Third Hill, it's always been love. It's always been uplifting. They always encourage me. And that helps, because as actors, when we beating ourselves up and we get on the phone or we get on the line with our management, who, as actors, although we work together, as actors, we, like you said, we give up our power. We look up to our managers and our agents and things like that. So when they're beating you up too, it's really feel like,
well, that's abusive. That's a relationship you shouldn't be in. Horrible. Yes, creativity doesn't need to be chastised all the time or.
So when I'm in a situation and going through those moments, and I'm on the phone with them and they're uplifting me, it makes me feel that much better. Like, I've never had a bad conversation with my agents, and it took 5 years. And the first thing that we booked wasn't out the water. The first thing that we booked was Criminal Minds, and I was maybe on TV for 10 seconds. But to this day, that Criminal Minds audition and that 10 seconds was life-changing for me. Because
I want to hear this audition. Tell me why. Why was this life-changing?
Moved out here, a little bit after when I first moved out here, me and my grandfather were like this, right? And my grandfather never got a chance to see me act. Never. I actually booked a commercial, and I was going to tell him on my way to the commercial. I called him. He didn't pick up the phone. And my granddad was the type everybody knows. If I call my granddad at 3 o'clock in the morning, he's answering the phone. If I call him at 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever. If I call my granddad, he's going to answer the phone. He'd never seen me act. He heard me say that's what I wanted to do, and he rooted for me like I was Denzel Washington, right?
Yeah.
Never seen me do it. And my granddad, I found out that he had passed after I finished. Yeah, after I did the commercial.
Oh.
So
I'm sorry.
I had prayed. After that happened, I prayed a prayer, and I said, all of my grandparents that are still living, I want them to be able to see me do what I love.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to see it. And a scene came about, and I had walked. At the time, I was sleeping in my car. I had I drove around to every studio in Los Angeles, and I sat outside and I walked up and down and I prayed. And I did it again in 2018. And I also auditioned for All American in 2018, but I'll get back to that. I walked around, I prayed every single one. 2019 came about. I booked Criminal Minds, and I printed out this poster of me, had the Criminal Minds logo on there and everything. And I sent it back home to Chicago, and I had all of my grandparents sign it. And for me, that was life-changing because my prayer was answered.
Yeah.
All of my grandparents, from the moment that I made that prayer, was able to see me do what I love.
Yeah.
And I have a room in my house where I got posters all around of the things that I did. And on that poster, I have 3 grandparents that are no longer living, but I got their signature on there.
Yeah.
They was able to see me do what I love.
They're right behind you, pushing you forward. That is such a beautiful testimony.
Out of all the accomplishments, things that I have, I really cherish. Even though I was only on TV for 12 seconds, I cherish that in that role because they was able to see it.
The TV and film landscape, it's constantly changing, but traditional actor training has largely remained the same.
It's focused on a theater model whose main goal is to help you stretch the expression of your instrument. That's why you can have years of training,
From scene study classes to audition classes,
to even an MFA, and still not be able to book a 2-line co-star.
That's why we created The Bridge for Actors.
A collection of tech, craft, and business online courses to teach you the skills that you need to go from a student of acting
To a working actor.
I cherish that and that role because they was able to see it.
Absolutely. That's one of the more beautiful, and that's the thing that just, it's baby steps, right? This career is baby steps, and people don't understand the fight that it is to get to certain things. You know, my grandparents, God bless them, would always be like, I saw you. When you going to be the lead? When you going to be Denzel? I'm like, you have no idea how hard it was just to get that job. Like, and then we layer brick after brick. But when you, I think, take something that we do and put it outside of ourselves, when you can be altruistic about it, when you can make it be of importance for something else, to have your grandparents be able to see you, you're able to carry that torch.
Yeah.
Through the rejection, even though I don't like to call it that. I like to say it's selection, not rejection. So it was only a matter of time before you were selected to come and play. But here's the thing that I think is riveting, and that's why I only interview actors that have been doing this for 10 plus years. It's one thing to be invited to come and play. Everybody's going to get an opportunity at least once to be able to do this. But how do you turn a job into a career? How do you continue to have the stamina to go, you know, rejection after rejection or not being selected, to be able to string each opportunity together? And that's all mental health. And that is truly what what you believe in, we will believe in. That's exactly what you said. You believed in yourself, so you got an incredible manager. You believed in yourself, you got incredible agency with nothing but faith.
Yeah.
And
great. Like, I really pushed that, having a great team of people, because even in times where I didn't necessarily have 100% belief in myself, I knew that there was people around me that had all sacrificed for me to be where I am. Mm-hmm. And what good would I be if I just quit? So everybody's sacrifices go down a rabbit hole. Like, I have a lot of people that pray for me. I have a lot of people that would just call and uplift me. I have a lot of people around me that just genuinely love me and want me to win. And so that helped. So even when I can't hold myself up, I'm never alone. I'm never, at no point am I ever alone, and at no point am I ever doing anything by myself. I am big on, I am a team player. I tell people all the time, I am not a self-made human being. I don't do anything by myself. I have a great team of people. I'm just in the forefront. It is a million other people that's behind me that's putting this all together. I'm just the one that everybody sees. But if you take away that, then you look at the warehouse of people that is responsible for making this product. And that's how I like to view it. And that's how I like to see it.
It's a beautiful way of building a house together. It takes many hands to build a full house.
Like, so, even in 20, like I said, that was in 2018 when all that happened.
So
2019 is when I booked.
2018 is because Criminal Minds doesn't even come out till 2020. So
because I filmed it in 2019. So I all of those prayers when I was walking up and down all of the studios and touching the studios, that was in 2018. That was when I was sleeping in my vehicle, my car. So in 2019, I booked Criminal Minds. Before that, my first audition in 2019, I was on my way to I left my job, and then I was on my way to my audition, and I was sleepy. So I took it was a energy drink, you know, the little energy shots or whatever. I took it. I never take those. I went to my audition and I couldn't remember a word. I felt like I don't do drugs, never have done drugs. I imagine that this is what it was like. When I say I didn't know a word, I was jittery. I couldn't think. I couldn't remember a thing. So I walked into my audition and I start the first line. I can't remember a thing. I try to go again. I don't remember. So the guy's like, you walk outside, take a second. I'm like, no, I know this. Tried it again. No, he said, go outside, take a second. So I went outside. I'm mad. I'm outside yelling, everything. You know, I'm going through it. I'm halfway crying. I go back in. After numerous takes, I finally get through the first scene. And I'm about to start the second scene. And the casting director was like, I'm pressed for time, and shoot me off. I was like, I'm pressed for time.
Yeah.
So I walked out mad as hell. Listen, now, the mature me knows, I understand. I was in your office. It took me a million times to get out one word. It wasn't my fault. I took the little energy job. I was trying to stay woke. I was working a million jobs. But I held that on to him for so long, and it just fueled me. The next audition I booked,
The next, well, because were you overly prepared for the next one? And
audition,
of course, and was that Criminal Minds?
Yes, I think the next one was something else. Maybe not have been the next one, but shortly after was definitely Criminal Minds. And then from Criminal Minds, it was 5 Points. And the amazing thing about 5 Points is I have a video literally in my phone. I was standing outside the Netflix building and I was recording. I was listening to gospel and I was praying literally in the spot right outside the Netflix building. That was in 2018. 2019 come about. I'm sitting in my trailer and my granddad, who never got a chance to see me act, I always keep a photo of him. And to this day, I got the same beat up leather binder that I've had probably 10 years. I still keep it with me every time, whether I'm on audition or whether I'm on set. I keep that folder with me at all times. It's in my book bag. And in that folder, I have a picture of my granddad. And I always take a picture with it in my trailer because I feel like he's there with me. But I was in my trailer. I was crying. Again, at this point in time, I was listening to gospel and I had my granddad photo next to me. And something hit me and said, look outside. So I opened my trailer. And at the time, I had one of those small trailers. You know, the one.
Yes.
The little small ones.
Mm-hmm.
I looked outside the window and my trailer was sitting in the same exact spot that I was praying in the year prior. Same exact. I literally have it on my phone. The same exact spot that I was praying in a year prior.
It's a beautiful synchronicity, full circle. I don't call it coincidences at all. If you're aware, if you're looking for the signs, you'll see the signs. If you're conscious, if you're in the place of awareness, which I think that as an artist that you have to be, no matter what type of artist you are, allow your channel to be open, to be of service, and to give gratitude. And then look at that. It might not be on your timing, but I love it's on divine timing.
The hard part is just giving it to God. And that's something that, I still struggle with every now and again to this day, because we want things to happen on our time.
We're human.
Yeah, we want things to happen on our time. But, just the freedom of giving it to God goes a long way.
Well, then talk to me about the freedom. Yes, I want to hear about the freedom of giving it over. So you do Criminal Minds. You do 5 Points. 5 Points. Were you in all episodes of 5 Points produced, which was Kerry Washington produced that, correct? All episodes produced, you were in that?
Yeah, I think I was in all of them, actually, yeah. And that started, I was only supposed to, the character that I was coming in for was only supposed to be in there for one scene. And then, one scene, that's it. I went to the audition, and after the audition, I went to work, and they gave me a call, and they said, hey, we want you to come in, but we want you to read that role, but the role now, they made it to all episodes, and we just wanted you to come in and we just want to see what you do with the same thing.
I love this.
But they brought me in, and when I came in, I was the only one there. I think I was the only person that they had auditioned. I think they just wanted to see what I did with it, but it was only supposed to be one scene.
One scene that turns into 9 episodes, which is great. Because the point that I'm getting at is the responsibility. Because I think in going up the stairs, I think when people start acting, you think that you're going to jump right to the series regular, right? So you get on set, you see, like you said, that 10 to 12 seconds of Criminal Minds. Now you get to 5 Points. It's supposed to be one scene. It turns into 9 episodes of, I think they said that there was 20 episodes produced. So you're getting more responsibility and you're getting to carry a character from episode to episode and to arc it. I want to hear about All American coming in, because now you're taking center stage. Even though this is an ensemble piece, this is something, and that's a big deal. And I wrote this down. It's Leah Daniels Butler.
Daniels Butler.
Who's casting this, who's a tough cookie and has done a lot of things. So I would love to hear the pathway for somebody who's starting out, who's getting great responsibility, who has immense amount of faith in their talent and themselves. But it takes time to have the industry trust you with this responsibility.
A lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And I'm trying to find the actual day that I got the audition.
Are you looking through right now? Yes.
I'm looking through. Give me one. I'm going to find it. I'm going to see if I can find it for you, because that story to me has been amazing. Let's see. I can't find it.
Was it in 2019 that you got the audition? Because it doesn't come out till 2022.
I got the audition in 21. Let me see.
21. So now I was wondering, we're in self-tape arena. We're in self-tape land. when you get this audition, correct? Yes.
Yep.
And is
Was
this
it self-tapes?
this role, I'm assuming, was a series regular from the get-go?
It definitely was. It was definitely
Was.
from the get-go.
Now, is this the first time you're going in for this level of responsibility for this, or had you been in for a few other series regulars prior to this?
No. I have been in for a lot of different series regulars along the way. I can't find it. Goodness.
That's
I
okay.
feel
You
so
remember.
bad.
I want to hear it. You remember in your brain.
But anyway, I auditioned for the original All-American in 2018. Casting director cried in my audition, brought me back same day. I met the...
Hold on.
At the time, it wasn't Leah. At the time, it wasn't Leah.
Pause. Cried in the audition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to give me some information on that? Like, because that
Well,
doesn't happen often.
The scene was an emotional scene. So during my audition, the casting director cried and asked me, where the hell have you been? And why haven't I seen you yet?
I love this. And I want to circle it back to one of your acting coaches earlier saying, this isn't about you, where you're like, I don't cry, I don't do whatever. So now you've learned a technique or a process in order to be of service to the story. So that's what the part I want to hear is, how did you prepare for this, that you were able to not only break open yourself, but affect the person in the room so much so?
Being honest.
Okay.
Being honest to the character, being honest to myself, and being willing and willing to access those things within myself to bring it to fruition. And he cried in audition, asked me where the hell I've been, why haven't he seen me? He said, I want you to come back later today. I want you to meet the writers. I want you to do your callback today. Came back in, I did it. I didn't hear it. No, they brought me in again for another role.
How did it go later that day? Because also,
great.
So seek to repeat. So if you get a reaction like you did in the morning, and
you want to follow that up.
Yes, because sometimes people are like, oh my God, I killed it. Now you have to go back and test in front of a bigger crowd. And sometimes it doesn't. I always say, don't seek to repeat. One, you can't. Then it feels old and dry and like serving last year's Christmas dinner. Mm-hmm. So how were you able to drop in to make it a new experience?
Based off the same thing that you said, just do your best not to repeat it. Just be honest, because things change. How I delivered it then may not be how I'm going to deliver it now, but I can be honest and be prepared. So I did that, and my experience was great. But like all actors, sometimes we have a little self-doubt. So after that, I got a great call. By the time I made it to my car at the little Warner Brothers lot, I had to walk out and walk across the street, park. By the time I made it to my car, my agents had already gave me a call and said they love you. And they said you did a great job.
Now, since this is 2021, this is exciting.
No, this was in 2018.
Oh, this is 2018.
This was for All-American.
Oh,
after All-American, I went back to my car and I had already had a call that said I did a great job. Boom. After that, I didn't hear, brought me in one more time. After that, I didn't hear a thing.
Damn.
I was still a fan of the show.
Mm-hmm.
When the show came out, I watched every single episode. And I used to always say, I really want to be on that show. I really want to be on that show. Then the deadline came out about the spinoff. And I was like, I'm never going to be on this show. And a friend of mine at the time was like, we don't talk like that. You're going to be on the show. Just have some faith. We're going to pray about it. We did. Probably a month after I got an audition, looking at the phone, boom, I see All-American. I start crying immediately. Even before the audition, I started crying. And then I was supposed to be in Miami. Well, I wasn't supposed to be in Miami. I had a rule, and Mikhail always taught me this. When I first moved out here, everything was in person. I never left. Mm-hmm. I came to California. Only time I left is when I went back home to Chicago for a few days, and then I came back here. I was scared to leave because I was like, if I leave, that's going to be the day that I get an audition. And then I'm not going to be here. And then so it just freaked me out. So I never left. My cousin called me. He was like, hey, come to Miami with me. And at this time, this is in 2021. 2021, I was doing okay for myself. I had started making money with real estate. So 2021, I was good. I had moved to Glendale. I got myself a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a loft looking over the little city. And in 2021, I was doing all right. Right. And he was like, come to Miami with me. I'm like, nah, I can't go. I got audition. I didn't have audition at the time. I was like, nah, I got audition. So he was like, all right. So then he called me back. He was like, yo, you changed your mind? You want to come to Miami? And by that time, I had an audition. I auditioned for the All-American thing. I'm like, nah, I got a call back. He was like, yeah, but I leave Thursday. I'm like, yeah, I got a call back on Friday. I did not have a call back.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. But I didn't want to leave because I was always afraid of if I leave, I'm going to miss out on something. That Thursday when he took a fight, on that Friday, I got a call, put a call back, All-American Homecoming.
You did?
I ended up having it.
So
and if I would have been gone like I was supposed to do, I wouldn't have been there for my audition, and I wouldn't have been there for the callback.
And was the callback in person, or was it a live Zoom? Was it a Zoom? It was
a live Zoom, but I was in the comfort of my home. Like, my main thing is when I moved and got the spot in Glendale, I wanted a place where I can do self-tapes.
Yes.
So it was important for me to have a loft. So I did that. I went out, got a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, plus the loft. I had the loft set up. I had the backdrop, I had my lights, and it was just comfortable for me to be in my space that I prayed over, and that was just deemed just for self-tapes.
Just for auditions, yes.
Yeah. And I was just like, had I been gone, I probably wouldn't have been as comfortable. I probably wouldn't have been in the proper headspace. It was just a lot of things that went into just speaking and saying, no, I'm going to have this.
Well, way to create the boundaries. Not only that, like I teach actors, and I think if you're not practicing the Zoom, if you're not practicing the self-tape, then you're not prepared. If you don't have a space that is set up, the anxiety that is brought into it, you are not prepared. If you're in Miami now, it'd be different if you wouldn't have had any auditions and you went to Miami and then you got an audition. That's different. You knowing that you had a responsibility of something that you wanted so badly and putting the faith there and staying put so you could be in the comfort of your own home to make sure that you prepared.
Well, I didn't at the time that I told him I had an audition, I didn't have an audition.
Oh, you didn't have, I thought you had the initial audition just came through. No. Okay.
At the time I told him, I just,
you just knew.
Justify partying when I hadn't completed my mission. My mission wasn't complete. I didn't book a thing. I didn't book anything. I didn't feel like I was in a space to go party with nobody.
Yeah.
I'm out on a mission. So it was a lot of things that over the course of time, like now, every now and again, I'll go and I'll have fun and do things like that. But I've always been in a mindset of like, what we're celebrating, what I'm partying for. I'm very competitive, and I just feel like I'm out in Miami, I'm having a good time. It's somebody picking up a script right now.
Yes.
And they want my spot, and I'm not going.
Well, and now here you have this responsibility of bringing this character to life, and it ends up being a huge mega hit season after season. Is season 3 is what you guys just completed? That's what's coming out
season
currently?
3, final season. I've been blessed to have worked with some amazing cast and directors. I've been blessed to work with some amazing writers, directors, cast and crew. It has really been a blessing. That experience over there, I really cherish and I really appreciate, from cast to crew and everybody in between that made it happen.
So tell me your Denzel Washington advice as somebody who's now gotten the responsibility of carrying a character for 3 seasons. Every level of this industry has its different set of responsibilities and challenges and things that you need to learn. So this is your first time carrying a character for 3 seasons. What's the one piece of tangible advice that you would give an actor who's getting ready to step into this lane?
Don't take it for granted. I've watched a lot of people over the course of time take things for granted. Don't take it for granted and work even harder, because once you have it, it could be a little harder. You don't have the same luxuries as you once had before. You have different set of luxuries, but you don't have the same luxuries as once before. There's more pressure on you now, and take advantage of it in a positive way. And don't slack up. Don't get relaxed. Work even harder. And find new things within your character to bring it to life.
That was going to be my next thing. So week to week, how were you tangibly working with bringing new things to life for?
So coach, remember the 3 coaches that I told you, Tasha, Marcia, and Mikhail. Mikhail was the one that actually from season 1, and he helped me with my audition. So Mikhail was with me from the whole course of All-American Homecoming, from my audition to the last episode of season 3. Every episode we sat down, I would break the scene down myself. Then I would work hard at bringing characters to life and being prepared. So I would break the scene down, the whole script, break the script down myself about my character. Then I would meet with him. We'd break it down. We go back and forth. We juggle ideas. We play it out. Every possible scenario. I may see it this way. He may see it this way. We gonna figure it out. Puzzle pieces. After I get done doing that with him, I go back at it myself, going over to see if I can find anything else in there. Download that within myself, figure it out, act it out. I walk around my house. I walk around my backyard. I'm saying it. I bring people in and, we're saying it back and forth just to see if I can find anything new. And then from there, then I take out my scenes because, we shoot out of order for everything. So I literally, day by day, I take out my scenes and I pin them all together. This is day 1. Boom, all these scenes. Day 2, all these scenes. And it's breaking down the script like that. It helps me be able to track my arc.
Yes.
At all times, I know where I'm at. I know where I'm going. I know where I came from. I know the last thing you told me. If we're in this scene, I know the last interaction that we had. I know how I feel about each character. Each character I wrote down in my notebook and on my scripts. Like if you see my scripts are filled.
Yeah.
Filled. It has all type of stuff on there, right? I know how I feel about each character. I write down the characteristics of each character. Like I expect this character based off of their personality, the character's personality, to always attack this way. Like we do humans. When we see a person, based off, we already know how this person gonna come. So I literally build a whole world within my character. And I live in it.
Beautiful work. I think a lot of people, I created a course, you booked it, now what? Because a lot of people, we focus on the audition and getting the job. And then when you get the job, it's a totally different set of responsibilities. And it's up to you to arc it. It's up to you to be responsible. It's up to you to be able to communicate with guest directors that are coming in. It's up to you to communicate with the writers because you are the forefront. There's a whole team behind you. But there you are the forefront and you're the responsible one to be able to keep this going. Not only that, to keep it going for your next job, because this is the last season of All American Homecoming, right? Yeah. So now you're back out. Now you get to go out. You're back out into the world of opportunity again and a new muscle of auditioning. So my last question.
It feels great because I wasn't able to audition like this and since 2021. So I've got more auditions in the last month than probably I've had in 3 years.
So my last question will be, how are you approaching those auditions differently now after having the responsibility of carrying a character for 3 years? What do you notice?
Just more confidence. I think a lot of time it's a lot of it is confidence, but also knowing what you're doing and knowing how to apply the confidence. But I attack it with more confidence, less doubt. And I really appreciate being able to go through different things and learn how to, like you said, communicating with directors. That's an art within itself because you get some directors that come on there and come up with an idea out of nowhere. And you're like, listen, let's talk about how that makes sense to the scene that we just shot 3 minutes ago. Yep. And so for me, I learned when I'm communicating with different directors, I don't communicate from an emotional, personal place. I'm communicating from a character place. Mm-hmm. So me, Sylvester, I would have done this totally different, but my character would do this. So explain to me, you came up with that idea. I want you to explain to me how that makes sense, because in scene 2 on episode 3, we did this. So how did we get to this point on episode 10? I'm not coming from a personal place.
Well, you have the content. So then you have the confidence.
How I attack my auditions.
Yes. Beautiful.
It all have to be glued together.
It does. It does. And you know what? I'm so glad I got to talk to you.
Vice versa.
No, and I'm really grateful. When you're just starting a career and you hit a stride at 10 years, you have a different level of responsibilities, and how you're taking it on and how you are truly able to be a mentor to so many other people that haven't had this responsibility yet, and being so open about failures and where you want to go and how you want to do things. You can truly coach yourself into a beautiful place of being so confident in this. I high five you. You will be the biggest movie star in the world. Give yourself another 10 years. Let's see where you are at 20, because 20 is like the whole career making. Yeah. I think 10 years is when you start actually working. 20, we'll circle back. Let's circle back in 10. Let's see how this is going.
Let's circle back. By then we'll be talking. I have a few Oscars behind me.
Yeah.
I've been in a different house.
In a different house. I love this idea. We always project things on this podcast, and I'll be damned if they don't always come to fruition.
Well, thank you.
So we'll do that then. Thank you. I'm excited to see how this character ends up. You guys have how many episodes to wrap up this season?
13.
13 episodes.
13. But if I can say anything, last thing that I would say is something that I always say. Have the proper people around you.
Yeah.
Have the proper people around you. Have a great team of people. And that helps. Like, I'm never alone. Right now, I got my uncle sitting right here. I'm never alone.
Hi, Uncle. I also want to say this. I really want to commend you. I think one big thing about getting the right team around you is showing up as you are and allowing people to see who they are so they know what they're selling. So Gabe, Joel, you're a manager that came on board. They came on board because of you being authentically you. And I think that takes a long time for certain artists because they want to hide in other characters, or they think that this is what you want to sell versus this is who I am and how can we work together to bring great stories. So I'm not surprised that all of these things are sticking to you, or your ball of relevancy is going. And I can't wait to see where it goes next. So kudos to you. Where can everybody find you? And where can everybody watch All American Homecoming?
Instagram, I'm not really as active, but I am Sylvester Powell. All American Homecoming is on the CW right now. I think we just moved up to 8 o'clock, and then give it a few months and we'll be on Netflix. Last season, All American Homecoming. And I like it.